What is going on, YouTube world? Steve, Dave, Insert Revolution Podcast, episode number Francisco Liriano, number 47.
I guess it should be technically 48, but since we took a week off.
Yeah,
but
that'll be 200. So we'll have a couple Minnesota Twins icons, as it were, notated with that.
I still can't believe that we're almost a year into this. When we first kind of started talking about this, we didn't really know where it was going to head, and the fact that we've been doing this for a week, every week for almost a year, is pretty cool. And a lot of it has to do with the support that we get from the crew that always visits. What's going on, Bobby? I know Dave already said hey to Paul, so I didn't want to duplicate it. But it's been a fun ride to say the least, and let's hope it continues to progress and until we get bored.
Or we just run out of stuff to talk about, which I don't know. We can always dip back to the cards, which is what we wanted to sort of when we thought about the podcast. Like there wasn't much football out there. There's a lot. You can find basketball content until your toes bleed. Baseball, you have every speculator in the world out there. Hockey, there's not much, at least that I'm aware of. And football, we're both not aware of much. Yes, you've got your probably instant Brady, Mahomes, by them. Yeah, Josh Allen, yeah, whatever. But there's to the folks that somehow pick up on this show, there's a lot more than 5 players, 5 types of cards to pick up. Believe it or not. Joey Jojo Shabba doing whatever nonsensical graphics they've got. Top 5 of the week. You can have a top 30 of the week and still not even scrape the top of the barrel.
Agreed. Hold on. It's good to see you, Mike. I know you and I talked a couple of weeks ago. I did check in with him to see how he was, because we noticed that he hadn't been around the last couple episodes. So it was one of those in which I reached out to check in with him to see how things were going, and work's been kicking his ass, so which is understood. But at the same time, it's one of those in which we always say it. The mantra that we live by, we live it every day. And it's one of those in which we do think about people and how they're doing and their real life outside of this. And when we don't see people, we start to wonder and get a little concerned, just in the event that something's happened, and if there's anything that we could do or anything along those lines. So it is good to see you, Mike. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's the work kicking ass is I think across the board right now. It's been, we're starting to see, because I work, as you know, for a grocery store, and it's not your, and again, I don't know what you guys got down there. Up here is like a Hy-Vee for a big one, Cub Foods, Super One. I know Super One isn't down that way at all, but like a Brierly's or what, Publix, is that like a grocery store down that way? What the hell do you have for like a big grocery store?
Kroger.
Like a Kroger. Something, I don't work for something that big. But when our town, now again, Canadians still saying stay out America. So that border's closed. And we are, as I've said before, probably, if you could go right up to Canada, the Canadian border, we're probably about 25, 30 minutes away, straight shot. Can't do that because it's all woods and lakes, but You have the BWCA, which is a huge tourist thing. Think of sort of like the poor man's like Yosemite, without as much of the cool sights of like a grizzly bear, a mountain, guides, or stuff like that. If you like canoeing, fishing, camping, stuff of that nature, portaging over into other lakes, it hits home for you. Our population, I don't even know what it goes up at least 5-10 times. So you go from like 3,000 to probably 15 to 25. It seems a week because it used to be that Tuesday was the slow day. That's completely stopped. So where you could at least sort of catch up, catch your breath, and then, hey, let's charge through the at least for me, it's Saturday. It's pretty much balls to the wall Monday through Saturday. And now we're starting to see some stuff not being sent up here because we're not, for our warehouse, it's a decent account, but let's say a Costco comes in or a Walmart to that warehouse. We need this pallet of this. We need the pallet of that. We need whatever you've got of X, Y, and Z. They're going to immediately do it because that's instant money for them. I mean, it would be here for us, but if we can sell to the big guys, they're going to start coming back to you more. So we're struggling on like Capri Sun type juice boxes or high C. We don't have, I think everything was marked out on Monday. Gatorade 8-packs, I think the only stuff I was able to pull, because we got 3 or 4 forest fires up here. It's not huge. Like when you look in California and Oregon, it's not cataclysmic where the gates of hell are opened up. But with one fell swoop of a 20-mile-an-hour steady day of wind, it can be very troublesome. It's about 10 miles out of town, and we got to do stuff for the firefighters that come up here. The DNR, the Forest Service, they send up a ton of firefighters from whatever parts of the country that they're not getting sent out to California right now. So trying to pull Gatorade, because again, if they're out there and it's 85, 90, they got their gear on, they're going bushwhacking through deep woods. This isn't just like your little nature trail through a park. We're trying to get pallets of water, pallets of Gatorade. I can only get, I think it was about 4 or 5 different flavors of the 8-pack of Gatorade. And it wasn't like your key. It wasn't like lemon lime and fruit punch. It's like the zero Gatorade orange or the G2 orange. And they had plenty of that, but just trying to pull stuff like that and get that up here, it's a struggle because we're pulling from two warehouses, and then we got like another entity we can pull from, but they don't have much. And again, if any of these big wigs come in, Super One up here, that's big. Cub Foods is big up here. Any of that stuff comes a knocking, they're going to be directly talking with them and getting that sent to them immediately. So I've been on the phone more the last 4 or 5 days for work than I think the past like 3 years total. Just with a guy from the DNR constantly trying to get information, then call down to our warehouse and the rep down there and say, hey, what do you got for this? What quantities you got for this? You know, so work sucks enough in the summer when you start piling this stuff on, which everybody says, well, it's good for the economy to get some of this money. Well, yeah, it's nice, but that's not how you want to get the money through some sort of natural disaster, but just some sort of act of God, or like 4th of July storm came started up. But the people that have been working on this stuff have been working hard the last year. I don't need to work any harder. I don't want to work any harder. I have people at work saying, man, you look tired. You look like you need to sleep. I'm like, I do need to sleep. I try to. But when you're sitting there worrying about stuff and the stuff's going to show up and when it's going to show up and how it's going to show up, it just, it wears on you. And when you're one of like 5 or 6 people at the store to actually be useful, That's another thing too. When you have a ton of people that are just garbage.
Yeah, I could. When you're trying to do your best to support, first responders and things along those lines, and you're unable to kind of meet the needs, I can see how that could weigh heavy on you. Outside of just the normal day-to-day crap that you have to deal with. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, there's enough to do during the regular day. You don't need to have this type of stuff, especially when the boss is just like, oh, here, you have to do it. I'm like, I already got this stuff covered. You can just go away. I'm talking to him right now. We've already got this stuff going. I've got to see if I can punch it through, and I'll call up if they don't get the answer I want. But yeah, when he's like, oh, yeah, it sounds like you got taken care of, and then he just goes back to the office to sit. I'm like, good job. Well played.
Hey, Yannick.
So
maybe you ought to start carrying more of this. Maybe this will help him.
Trista was looking at going camping Saturday night to it's called Indian Lake. It's probably about an hour and 20 minutes away. Just as her birthday, and so we wanted to do something for that. And she was nursing Coors Light the whole time. I think she poured out more than she drank. I was like, "You're a rough. Come on now."
That's a no-no.
I know.
That's a no-no.
I got some sunburn, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, well, at least you got a chance to get away briefly. Not that it completely resets your motor, so to speak, but it does help a little bit. This week has been crap for me. Last 2 days, I've had nothing but escalations. So I'm counting down the days for myself to get the heck out of Dodge. I'm ready.
First time I sat in the lake with a chair, I just sat. Like, I don't care. Just let me sit. Let me drink. Let me just sit. And then, like, that felt good. Because I needed that for, like, the body, too. Man, everything still hurts, but it's always nice to get some little cooler water and just sort of sit there, especially when it's baking outside. So, I'm not in the forecast again to do that.
We now have Sir Paul. It's no longer Paul, it's Sir Paul.
Must be McCartney. McCartney, perhaps.
Could be. So I will say, Dave, interesting choice of topics. This is another one in which it can go a multitude of different ways. I think I'm going to play devil's advocate, as I always do in these situations, because I feel like I do really well with that aspect and that avenue. So my guess, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we haven't really talked much outside of our normal group chats and such. Did something occur in the past couple of weeks in which this kind of came to your mind as a good topic of conversation?
I still harken back to the one comment of what the entitlement episode, where I can dig a lot of subject matter out of those comments, and then just the ineptitude of stupidity and the neediness. I don't want to say constantly saying entitlement, but the fact that somebody thinks that something should be the way they perceive it, no matter what it is. We will touch a bit on Hobbypalooza and I don't know. I hear people say it was great. I think it was better last year for a couple reasons. But we'll get to that.
You should have just said reasons. You know, at least here, that's an acceptable response.
For reasons.
Typically, we go a little bit further, but, you know, it's one of those in which, in all practical purposes here, I mean, for reasons would have been sufficient.
It's long. It was 50 hours 2 weeks ago and 50 hours last week. So, and we're looking at about 50 this week. But we'll get into that. We'll get into, and this it's a subject that you can sort of, you can dangle certain terms and then sort of have your like family tree coming off of those, and the entitlement would be one, the influencer would be another, because if you're constantly posting on social media and you've got all your stuff, that, I don't know if that brings one satisfaction and then pumps up their ego, or and then just overall, when you see cards on there, let's say you see a TD, somebody's got it for sale, reasonable price, you're messaging them, out of the blue, they say, oh, I sold it. This isn't like eBay where you're negotiating through a buy it now, best offer, and you're like, hey, here it's for $300. I'll offer you $180. Okay, you come back at $250, and then next minute it's gone because somebody bought it for $300. Okay, that's fair market. I mean, you put it on a platform to sell, but if you're doing it through like a Facebook and Instagram, I don't know, probably Twitter. I've never done deals on Twitter or TikTok or any of this other BS. Even on YouTube, when we had the messaging way back in the day, when you were discussing, you thought you were, and again, if somebody comes in, if I have a Soto, whatever, PSA 10 sepia refractor out of Topps Chrome update, I don't know, I want 3,500 for it. Carlos says, well, I'll give you 25. Well, if somebody offers me a 35, be prudent at least enough to that, whoever if Carlos say, man, at 3,500, somebody's coming at me with that. If you want to come up to that, great. If not, I got to sell it for 35. I don't have to, but I mean, if I'm asking that, if somebody's offering it, that's where it's at, instead of just sort of like saying, well, so somebody else offered more. So again, sort of going way back to like the collector etiquette too. So I mean, there's a multitude of stuff that can be bandied about with the social media thing, because you can put on the persona on social media of a know-it-all, of somebody that's a community member, of somebody that cares for others, when most of these folks are just like snake oil salesmen, and they're looking out for the person that's looking at the mirror back at them. And there's a lot of good people out there, but there's a lot of people that some people may not think are iffy. I do. That's just me. You've got people too. We might not have the same people, but that's how, if something strikes us, we're gonna sort of take a step back and like, I don't know how much I'm going to associate with these folks because of said occurrences or whatever they do to be a bad masseuse and rub us the wrong way. So I think we can do a lot. Again, YouTube is social media. It's a video platform for social media. So that will be in the
Hey, better half from the East Coast. We saw what you had. We saw what you had for dinner.
Looks good.
Looks pretty tasty. But no, when you put things in that perspective, Dave, there's, as I always allude to, there's always multiple ways to take a topic. And from like your perspective, you and I don't want to say we're on two different spectrums, but you do focus a lot of energy sometimes on stuff on YouTube as it pertains to, what we would consider questionable. I don't want to say negative because, there's positives, there's negatives, there's reality, there's multiple ways to look at things.
Yeah.
We've always positioned ourselves as, we're going to talk about things, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. And some of it is opinions and some of it is based on, factual information, depending on, situations and circumstance. But, from like your perspective, I know you engage also in Facebook, but, from a YouTube perspective, it's interesting sometimes in your situation, and I'll even call out Vinny in this situation because he does the same thing. Looking for ways or looking for other avenues to watch stuff, and you sometimes end up clicking on the same nonsense from the same nonsense type individuals. And, it sidetracks you from just focusing on whether it be your collection or, a conversation that you're having with so-and-so or something along those lines. It just kind of changes the dynamic. And I hate to say this, Dave. Oh, there's Dave's dinner. And I hate to say this, but it's reality. The fact that you let it get so much under your skin. At the end of the day, these folks win.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are some people out there that purposely are looking to get a rise out of individuals. That is their whole mantra. That is their whole way of doing things. And it's no different than a troll. They do the same thing. They do it to try and get a rise out of people. And, if you pay them no attention, you pay them no mind, eventually they do go kind of right off in the sunset. Some individuals from a YouTube perspective, that's not always going to be the case. Unfortunately, we're still going to have some of those individuals that are still around, regardless of what happens, because of devout following, whatever. Mm-hmm. But in the end, you're in control of what you watch, what you read, what you engage in, what you comment on, what you respond to. And although I know, like from your perspective, you're trying to, I don't want to say educate, but you're trying to get people to think outside of whatever their warped mind is at that point in time. And yes, I said warped mind, because a lot of the stuff that we hear and see doesn't always calculate with us and our way of thinking. So it's trying to put things in a different perspective, put your own point of view on things to try and get other people to think outside the box and or think for themselves, or, but in the end, you have control. And that's the thing. And I know we all in the group chat give you crap day in and day out. It's like, dude, change the station. Change the station. Don't waste your time. Now, if you're looking for fuel for the fire for some whatever reason, some ulterior motive that you may have, Dave, in certain situations, then okay. But in the end, was it really worth the time? Was it really worth adding to your frustration or your agitation or even your anger for that matter?
This is fuel to the fire. I've learned that. Top space cards.
What are you talking about? I almost have a whole set of Series 1. And I'm going to sit on it.
You know where to throw that.
It's not going in the fire. It's going to go in a box, and it's going to sit there, and it's going to collect dust like the rest of my sets do. But, it's that specific scenario. I mean, that I am not freaking justifying what was done. I understand the reason behind it. I do. However, there's a right way and there's a wrong way. And the way that transpired was the wrong way because it didn't hit the right tone. It didn't hit the right message. There was a lot jacked up about that whole situation. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch it. By the time I found out about it, it was already gone. But, I can make my assumptions based on some of the banter and stuff back and forth with other individuals. Otani, fire, man. He's on fire. So, and to be brutally honest, it's one of those in which I stay away from the naysayers. I stay away from the negativity as best as what I can. In the event that, there's another show or somebody else wants to focus on it and bring up certain things, fine. It means nothing to me at the end of the day because it's not going to change the way I think. It's not going to change my thought process. It's not going to change my opinion on things. Mm-hmm. And, the fact that here we are a few weeks away from the National, we're still having conversations of whether or not you go or you don't go and bitching and moaning about those people who are conveying the message of not going. Mm-hmm. Who freaking cares? People are entitled to their opinion. If you don't want to listen to the opposite opinion, change the station. If you're interested in hearing their reasons or their approach as to why they don't feel it's a good thing, go in with an open mind and just listen to it objectively and then make your decision. But just because somebody does the 5% opinion of don't go, it's not like they're automatically a bad person. Mm-hmm. And does it matter if they've ever been to a national? No. Does it matter? Absolutely not. If you look at the way that the market is, I can understand why a lot of people would forego it. Yeah. There's going to be a shit ton more people there, which means it's going to be that much more cram-packed. It may be more difficult to, wiggle your way into a table to see what they have. It may be more difficult to run into, your friends and things along those lines while you're at the show. That's a reality. It's not specifically a negative connotation, but that's a reality. It is a possibility. So what's wrong in conveying that message? There isn't at all. And it shouldn't matter if that one person has that opinion. It doesn't make them like Satan. And I feel as though it almost seems as that's almost the way that things are coming across to people. Yeah. That agitates me. Stuff like that, it's like, does it really matter? Does it really matter? At the end of the day, does it matter? No. If you have varying opinions, fine. If you don't want to listen to what they have to say, fine. But don't sit there and read them the riot act because they have a difference of opinion that's outside the majority. That does not create good back and forth open communication. We're all entitled to have varying opinions.
Just like I don't tell you what to collect. I don't tell Vinny what to collect. Carlos, your money, your time. If you see fit to go to a card show, the National, Bermuda, Bahamas, come on, Pretty Mama, whatever, wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, as long as you're happy and you're not being a complete asshat, fine. When you tell people what to collect, hey, this is why you should go to National. Well, here are the reasons why I would go to National. the correct, I'd almost want to say the correct list of things. Do that, and when you start saying, well, you're dumb because you don't want to go national because of the reasons I want. Well, I don't remember the clone of you being the same person over here. I put them side by side on video. It's not the same person. Imagine that. You can have your own opinion. If you get crucified for that is, those are the people you start weeding out. Because, again, you don't need to have the same opinion. It's in any forms of life, politics, religion, whatever the food, your palate, your other values, what you like to do in your free time, what you like to drink. If we're all the same, guess how fun that is? Not a lot.
Well, and it creates good conversation. Debate is good. Debate is healthy. In the end, debate and varying opinions is healthy. Now, if it's one of those in which you get your butt hurt and you start getting, animated and you start like yelling, screaming, cussing, and then it defeats the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I've had multiple conversations as it pertains to religion and politics with a multitude of different people. I prefer not to have those conversations because 9 times out of 10, they are set so much in their way of thinking that they don't want to hear your side of the story or your opinion or, anything along those lines. So in those situations, I try and avoid them. I mean, let's be real, because people are, I want to say, overly passionate in those two main topics. It can transfer into the hobby world, though. It's not just card collecting. It could be Pokemon. It could be Yu-Gi-Oh! It could be Magic the Gathering. It could be another TCG, Flesh and Blood. It could be a multitude of things. But both sides of the equation on any part of the spectrum is actually good for it's good for the collector's universe as a whole. Because I don't know about you, I don't want to be, consistently always thinking that, yeah, Dave, you are 100% right. I am right there with you. Everything that you say. No, nobody wants a yes man.
No.
Unless, but then again, Vinny's a yes man, but he won't admit it. But, we won't go there. That's a whole different topic of conversation. How's it going, Vinny? I know you've been itching to say something. But I had to go on my diatribe for a minute.
Not nice Vinny is not a person you want to meet. So I try to be a yes man and a nice man because much like Vinny Sr., you don't want to see the Hulk or Vinny Sr. angry. Truth, as my brother would say. Truth.
But so as it pertains to the topic, I kind of went on my diatribe. I kind of picked on Dave to a certain degree, and I picked on you a little bit before you joined. And lo and behold, you show up like perfect cue. It never happened. It always happens these days, it seems. From your perspective, we know Dave, social media does kind of, add additional stressors to his life in certain situations. From your perspective, and I'll let you speak on it because, I don't want to speak for you. It does affect you in situations, though. I mean, it rubs you the wrong way from time to time.
I don't like exactly what Dave said. I don't like people being a bunch of goofballs. I don't like them. I want to live in the perfect utopia of card society, darn it. And I just get aggravated that people just can't be nice till it's time not to be nice and be prepared for what happens when you're not nice. It's just like, come on, guys, gals, everybody, just.
But correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm asking for your opinion on this. At the end of the day, does it matter whether it be one side or the other on a specific topic pertaining to the hobby or collectibles in general? Am I right in thinking that both sides are necessary? I mean, everybody's entitled to varying opinions. The whole objective is to listen with an open mind. And if you disagree, that's fine. But don't be a jerk about it. Hey, you know what? I can see your point, but, I disagree because A, B, C, and D. I disagree is not a valid retort. It just doesn't work that way. That just kills an entire topic of conversation, regardless of what it pertains to. And that's not just hobby in general. It's, in casual conversation. We joke, we kid around a lot in, chat and side conversations. And, we put a stop to conversations on purpose just because it kind of gives us all a laugh. But that's all in jest. That's all in fun. When it's an open forum, it's one of those in which why consistently poke at people for having a varying opinion? Your opinion is not better than theirs. It's not more important than theirs. Why? What purpose does it serve? I mean, are you trying to be a bully? Are you trying to put yourself on a pedestal and put yourself above other people because you disagree? No. Why would you do that?
I can't agree with you more, because what gets me is not that they have a different opinion than I do. It's in the manner. It's in the end result. It's in the motive behind things. Why are you doing it? That's what gets me. I don't lose any sleep at night over it, but
that's a good one.
It's at the end of the day, I'm here to. I don't care about this. Don't care. It's cool to have, wonderful to have. Tuesday night, I got done with work. I ran my program I had to. Sitting here watching you guys on the screen, waiting. Thing ended. Boom, I'm with my friends. That's what matters to me. And you guys could have every varying opinion against mine. You know what? I respect it. I don't have to agree with it, but I respect it. It's real simple. But call me a child of the 70s and 80s. That's how we roll.
No, better half, no need to be sorry. No, I didn't know C had a game.
Yeah, Haley took her. And I had to take calls till 7:15 with this new system that we're running. So by the time they shut it off at 8 o'clock, I run a program and boom. And the Ducks is the coach, Dave. That coach.
Oh, that one.
I figured that. I remember that from the chat. And what's up to Joe? I want to say that.
But see, and that's what makes this enjoyable. We all can have varying opinions. We respect everybody's opinions. If we disagree with those opinions, it's still done respectfully. We can retort as to why we may disagree, but it's not like I'm getting fired up like, no, you are wrong.
Let's go.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go.
Blasphemer.
Got to figure out what that vibe is in the room. The vibe in this room is getting a little heated, but in a good way. It creates good conversation because I like looking at other people's perspectives. I pick at Dave all the time. Dave knows this. I poke at you, Vinny, from time to time, but you know this, and it's all in jest and it's all in fun because it's fun to get a rise out of you guys from time to time. But there's also reasons. I have my reasons because if I poke at Dave, and depending on his response, I know, okay, Dave had a really bad day. Okay, we'll trim it back a little bit, and we'll just talk like normal. You're always the same, Vinny. You usually come back with a smart ass response. So it's one of those in which I come to expect that. But we all have difference of opinions on a lot of aspects, whether it be where the market's going to be in, a year or 18 months, what's around the bend as it pertains to, retail, or are we going to start seeing a spike in this or a dip in this? Yes, I hate that term, but I'm going to use it. We all have our own opinions as it pertains to that. And we all provide reasons as to why we think the way that we do. It's never just a generalized statement. This is why I think the way that I do. And if you disagree or agree, you come back with, yeah, you know what? I can see that point. I agree because of this. But on the flip side, maybe this is a possibility. Oh, you know what? I didn't think about that. That's open communication.
Yeah.
That's positive open communication.
It's like the dude that has the table. Changed my mind. Well, guess what? If you could offer a better argument to the opposing opinion, I will listen to you. And if you can provide said facts to make that opinion the truth or a very better opinion, well, I never thought of it that way. You have a point. Well done.
Yep.
It's called communication.
Well, and it's called mutual respect at the end of the day.
That too.
I work with a lot of dumb shits, as do you and, Dave and everybody else probably. But, I may despise an individual and have to sit on a video call and cringe every time they open their mouth because I want to open mine and say, you know what, you're a freaking idiot. But I can still have a respectful conversation with the individual, and they're not going to know that I think they're, lower than whale shit, because that's not how to get things done. At the end of the day, you're trying to solve a problem. You're trying to provide a solution. You're trying to take care of a customer, whatever it may be. You can still mutually respect that individual in that situation because you're trying to obtain an objective. To a degree, it's no different than any interaction that we have in the YouTube space, the StreamYard space, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It doesn't matter. It's the same type of aspect. Somebody's selling a card, you're wanting to buy a card. You're engaged in conversation. It should be respectful. You avoid the entitlement aspect. Well, I'm the number one Terrell Davis collector there is. You owe me this card, and I want to pay this price. No, kiss my ass. That's not how it works. Guess what? This is the way that the market is right now. You have the option. Do you go with said price that somebody is throwing it out there? If you don't feel comfortable paying that, then move on.
Or the opposite. Oh, Steve's the big Terrell Davis collector. I know he needs this card. It's $175 for a card that's not worth more than $30. It works both ways, baby. Absolutely.
And I've seen it both ways. I've experienced it both ways. So not like from my core group of friends or whatever, it's somebody finds out in other social media aspect that, hey, I know somebody who collects Terrell Davis. If you're looking to move something, reach out to him. And then it's like, hey, I pulled this card, you interested? Well, yeah, I'm interested. What are you looking for? Throw out a price and you're going, not on your best day.
No.
And at that point in time, I did know the market. I knew the market extensively. In that situation, I was that guy. I mean, I was the one paying top dollar. No, I'm not trying to play the entitlement card here, but it was a known fact. You could go look at all the one-on-ones and the high dollar cards. You could go back and figure out that it was me. Through process of elimination, you could figure out it was me. But at the same time, it's like, you want $300? Okay, well, here's some prime examples. This card is not in the same category as A and B, and this is what I paid. I consider this more in this category. This is what I paid. This is where I'm comfortable. If we can work out a deal, great. If not, good luck.
And let me let everybody in on a secret. Not every box is going to have really good cards in it. Some boxes are going to suck. Guess what? It's part of life. Because you paid $120, you can't actually go and put the 15, the 5, the 105 cards out in front of you and say, how do I make this where I make money? Guess what? Sometimes you can't.
Breaking news. Roll it. Roll the headline.
Well, I was watching today. Ziri 11 was busting a 15, 16, I think, box of showcase. And he's rolling through. He's down to the last pack, the fat one. Till then, modest stuff. Gets down to the last card. He's got it there. And he slow rolls it. There you see 87 on the top. He hit the RPA for Connor McDavid. And he's shaking. Okay, you know how many other – he opened a box of, I think it was SP from the same year and didn't get bupkis. He had nothing. He didn't get anything. But that's the luck of the draw.
It's gambling.
Yeah.
It's gambling at the end of the day, no matter how you slice it.
You can't make cards worth something. And I think that's what happened for maybe the last 2 years, because somebody would put on a card and I'm like, how is this guy that's like on the fourth line of a not so great team, his card's worth $175? Am I missing something? I know the NHL pretty well, but it's $175. I don't understand it.
So Vinny, here's the thing. This is what you're missing. We are now in an era where people had the ability to manipulate the market.
I was unaware.
Hey, I'm trying to break the news here too, man. You just had the breaking story. I need to make sure that I break this story too, because nobody else knows this. I mean, geez, give me my platform here. This is my show, damn it.
I'll shut up now.
But it is so interesting to me these days, and how so many avenues, whether it be social media, whether it be eBay, whether it be any other auctions for that matter, Golden, PWCC, Heritage, that there is so many ways to manipulate the values. It just blows my mind how easy it is, how simple it is, because it spreads like wildfire. Top influencers have that much power over people who just sit on every word of theirs, and it fluctuates the market.
Okay.
And that's how I feel too. It's one of those in which this is why I stay away from. I don't listen to what any of them say. I have my own opinions of certain players that I like to hold on to, or collecting set wise. It has nothing to do with what anybody says. I don't care if Gary V comes out and says Terrell Davis is the next hottest thing. Buy now. His stuff is going to skyrocket. Okay, please do that. Pretty please. I have a few cards I wouldn't mind moving. But it doesn't change anything from my perspective at all. That happens, I zag, in the terms that we've used before. I'll focus on this. I'll focus on that. But, I do things because I want to do things. It's something that I want to do. It's something that I enjoy. It's, part of my collecting makeup. I don't need somebody to tell me what I need to do, what I don't need to do, what I need to pick up, what I need to move. No. Last I checked, I have my own brain. I'm pretty sure I can figure that out on my own if I choose to do so. If I choose to take that route.
You being you is why we're the group that we are. If Bobby, if Joe, if Paul, if the better half, we're all the same, then we'd be boring as Hades. It would just be the same thing over and over again. Here's our top 5 picks this week, fellas, ladies, gentlemen, everybody. Here's what we got. Buy Acuna. He's on the dip now that he got hurt.
Yep. And this is the thing that amazes me though too. That's what everybody has done since the dawn of time.
Nothing new.
You focus on, somebody gets hurt, they're not playing well. That usually means prices. It's no different than freaking stocks. I mean, it really isn't. Company does well, stock prices go up. Company starts doing bad, stocks go down. It's the same.
Tim Wakefield. I watched this. This was early 90s. Tim Wakefield. He was a bust as a position player. All of a sudden, he starts throwing a knuckleball. Boom, in the minors. Holy Lord, this guy's, striking out 27 batters. This is amazing. Comes up to the major leagues. Wins like 15 games. His Donruss rated rookie, you couldn't touch it. Then all of a sudden, he goes downhill. Then he comes back years later with the Red Sox, and he's hot again. Cycle. Boom.
Yep. Everything is cyclical. Dave can attest to it for Josh Johnson. We talked about it before on the broadcast. Yeah. Josh Johnson stuff went way up. Did he move any of his triples and quadruples and quintuples and sextuples and septuples and octos? No, he didn't. Should he have? Potentially. Potentially. But at that same time, you chose not to. That was because that's how you felt. It wasn't worth your time, energy, effort, whatever it may be. It didn't get your jollies all in an uproar to say, you know what? I need to take advantage of this because then I can turn X into something else. That's your main PC guy. Yes, you have a ton of doubles of a lot of things. And a lot of those cards were selling, 10 and 15 times probably what you paid for them during that time span. Would it have been advantageous? Hell yeah, it would have been. But at the end of the day, you couldn't bring yourself to do it because that's your heart and soul. I mean, and I get it. It would be no different. I mean, Terrell Davis had a spike for some time. Not long after he hit the Hall of Fame, not long afterwards, his stuff spiked. Did I take advantage of some of it? Yes. But it was because I had dupes and it was inserts and parallels and stuff. That's because of picking up collections. I don't have a whole lot of dupes and things along those lines for autographs and things along those lines. So I had no reason to move any of that stuff. But since I'm one who's not a fan of duplicates, that was very easy for me to take advantage of. But I'm not you, and you're not me. I'm sure there are times you probably regret it to a degree because of putting those funds into other aspects of your collection, whether it be your Hall of Fame patches or, some of the, whether it be Frank Thomas, Piazza, some of those 90s guys in which, the love for the 90s inserts is always there. But at the end of the day, does it really matter? No. You still have them. You're still pleased with what you have. And you're like the rest of us. If it goes to zero, do we really care? I don't. I don't at all. That's not the reason why. It is the part of the reason why I did it, but it was like I'm forward thinking. I'm looking towards the future, that more focused about my kids type aspect. But as of right now, do I care? Absolutely not. I could care less. Let it crash to absolutely nothing, and I'll start picking up cards for pennies on the dollar. I'm still going to be buying stuff, it doesn't change anything for me or you, Vinny, or Dave, or most anybody else here. It doesn't change anything. Maybe we'll get lucky and people will just start sitting there going, hey, anybody want all these cards? They're free. I'll take them. Here, I'll even give you $10 for shipping, even though shipping isn't $10. Yes,
right
better
back
have.
at your wife.
Just, hey, what?
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
I don't know.
Well, she said she'd be right back. So maybe that was her way of saying, hey, I'm back, or she was
wife, context. I can't yell into the other room.
Well, you can, but it would fall on deaf ears.
No, the dogs would hear me, and we don't want to rile them up.
And I'm guessing C isn't back from softball yet, is she?
Nope, she's still with Haley. I'm hoping that they won. They said they won, but I didn't get a firm confirmation yet. So,
well, your wife said they won 10-0.
Well,
so obviously your wife knows.
How can that be? They were losing 7-6.
Oh,
11-7 they won.
Maybe 10-0 their record.
Oh, 10-0 So they won 11-7.
Okay, gotcha.
See, I took that as the score, so my bad. My bad.
Well, yeah. Well, Haley's messaging me. She's like, when does C bat? I said, usually second. She's like, she's not batting second. I said, well, who's pitching? They're like, this person. I'm like, I said, while the coach is away, the other coaches play. So it was an interesting game because I got the play-by-play from Haley, and it was not the usual better half style softball game, I should say.
Well, then maybe we know who the better coach is. Oh, did I just stroke her ego? Jeez, damn it. Note to self. Shut up, Steven. Oh, did I say that out loud too? Damn, I thought I was on mute.
She's like Uncle Owen in Star Wars. If he's not working on those conductors by 7 p.m., there'll be Hades to pay.
So, Dave, anything else we want to kind of broach this subject before we ask the guest of honor to open a care package from you?
I will dive because I will think about my opinion. I haven't watched much of Hobby Palooza, so I probably shouldn't speak on it. But from what I saw in the content of the titles of said videos, and more where it got geared towards this year, for reasons, I don't think it was nearly what it was last year, being actually more collector-centric, collector-based. Of course, it's always nice to have, and when they do make a donation to Mike and the bench clear guys, when they make the box donations and you rip them and you give them away, that Friday should be the day, it's sort of like the VIP day for the National, that Wednesday. That should be 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever it is. You should have an upper deck hour, panini hour, tops hour, whatever. They gave stuff, they supported it, they've earned it. But when you have, and this, I know what it will sound like to some, and that's fine. this is no sour grapes on my part. I was camping. I wanted to be camping my lady on her birthday because that's what it should be. Just because I wasn't on there, that's fine. I'm not. Look at my channel. You've got enough videos of me and enough fucking airtime. I don't need to be on anymore. You look at here, we're on usually 2+ hours. The earlier episodes were on for 4+ hours. We got enough airtime. I'm on the. You can see me whenever you want. You can listen to probably every opinion I've ever had. For me, looking at the lineup, looking at the people on there, you already had the quote unquote a lot. And I again, like a 4-leaf cards and the Reindeer Studios, they don't have as many subs, and I like the artistry because that's something different. I can't fucking draw a stick figure. So when they're doing their drawings, I like that. It's not something I'm going to sit there and watch. So I'll have two things. I'll get to my main point first, then I'll jump into the second. You had a lot of big guns, as it were. Not in the overall scheme of things, but to the people that know of Hobbypalooza, they're big guns. This isn't the ones we rip on, and no Dabsman or any of those type of clowns. But you had enough big names on. And it wasn't like last year where I did see Michael had an after party thing or something on Sunday. I was out by 8:30. And when they can gather people, I like that. It doesn't all have to be the same faces. When you start picking people from different, and they're on YouTube on every aspect or every genre of videos, when you can pick them from every click or every niche on here, put them all on one screen and just get some different opinions. Just hear how people interact. Maybe you sync up well with somebody you A, don't know, or B, you're like, man, this dude's a douche. You start talking, like, oh, okay, this back and forth isn't terrible. It's a lot better than I expected it. When you have that, you build up what you say you're for, the community. When you put out people that are just in it for subs, in it to get, hey, I'm at 3,800 subs, I'm 200 more, I got 4,000. If that's always something in your periphery, how much of the community are you for? You're for the community supporting you, but in what regard are you supporting the community? Last year, you had a lot of these forums with a lot of guys on there. You had JT rapid fire through a lot of superplex. You had the Sunday night one, I know was on there with, I think, Mike and Ed and a bunch of guys constantly rotating out. I like that. I like not just having the same people constantly filling my screen. Because, as we've said, you like to hear different opinions. I'm not familiar with A, B, and C. I see X, Y, and Z. I'm familiar with them. I know where they start at. Let me hear A, B, and C a little bit. But if they're, I won't say an awe, but if they're nervous about being on camera, because again, I'm not familiar with some of these guys. I don't know their channels. I don't know how many videos they're on, how many live streams they're on, what they participate in. If they're quiet the whole time, it's just a name. I can see that in some of these big streams and these chats. If I want to see names, I can just read through names there. But if you're on screen and I don't know you, I want you talking. I don't need to hear you for 45 minutes. Nobody wants that. So, when you get on there, speak. Just even if you sound dumb, okay, but I'll pass on this dude. That's fine. But it's the same people we've heard, and we've constantly heard. You're dredging the lake, and you're hearing, and you're getting the same sediment and the same contributors to the community. When we have countless hours of that.
Well, and to add to that too, Dave, and I will be the first one to admit, and Vinny and I talked about this briefly. I watched nothing for Hobbypalooza. Nothing. I do have Bob and Stoves to go back and rewatch because that's the only one that, of course, sparked my interest, so to speak. Not that I'm against anybody else who was on the lineup. That's not what I'm saying. Last year, I probably spent 10 hours or so watching multiple streams because, like you said, it was community and hobby focused, but yet you knew what you were going into in each stream. So you could sit there and look at the lineup and be like, okay, well, JT is talking to super collectors. That's cool. I consider myself a super collector. Let me go, find out about some other ones. You had, and I can't quote specifics, and I won't because then I'll sound like I'm a moron. But you knew what the topics were. You knew what they were going into. I even watched the Jeopardy episodes based on who was going to be on the Jeopardy. Mm-hmm. But you knew what you knew exactly what was going to be talked about going into it. So if it was a topic that interested you, you either tuned in or you didn't. Mike O's late night hangout. I spent a lot of time in that, watching all you guys cycle out and enjoying the back and forth and the banter and things along those lines. So it's one of those in which there was no substance to this year. You really didn't know what to expect on going into any stream. Now, if people put up, their time slot and they, had everything scheduled beforehand and you were subscribed to them, you knew what they were going to be talking about. Bowman 53 and his vintage collection and stuff like that. I'm not a big vintage guy. Not that I have anything against it. Didn't spark my interest, so I'm not going to tune in. It's not because I don't like him or I don't like the topic. It just doesn't pique my interest. But I at least knew what he was going to talk about because he already had it scheduled. A lot of that was missing this year, I think. So it was almost like it was a crapshoot. If you wanted to go and support somebody, that's fine. But what if it's a topic that you really don't give two craps about?
Yeah.
So you go, you sit, and hope that it's going to be something enjoyable or something that you can provide insight to, and you find out that it's not. So to me that becomes counterproductive. If you look at the successes of last year, and I'll call last year a success. Overall, it was a success. I enjoyed a lot of the content. I got turned on to a lot of new YouTube individuals through Hobbypalooza. They should have taken that still as, like their basis, their foundation, and leveraged the same going into this year. And for whatever reason, they kind of, to me, they took a step backwards. I'm not dogging it. I still think it has a place. I still think it has potential. But to go along with what you said, it's about bringing individuals to other people's channels for A, B, and C. And A, B, and C could be a multitude of reasons. It shouldn't be about bringing visibility to your channel, so to speak, so you can obtain, 4,000 subs or something like that. It's not about gaining monetary rewards, so to speak. It should really be about, hey, go check out so-and-so because this is what he's going to talk about. And he's been around the community for a while, has a lot to talk about. You know, go check him out. If you like him, great. If you don't, doesn't matter either way. So hopefully they look at both last year and this year and try and look at ways to kind of revamp it, because I think it has a place. I really do.
Yep.
And last year, like I said, very enjoyable. I watched more content over that weekend than I did in a long time because I knew what I was going in to watch.
Yeah.
This year, you had no idea for the most part, unless you were subscribed to all those people, for instance, and they had their placeholder up. Without a placeholder, you have no idea what the discussion point is. Vinny, you seems like since you went off mute, I'm guessing you have some retort.
No, I just Hobbypalooza. I was watching JT, and I see. Wait a minute. No,
the other one.
Dave. It's Dave. I can't point.
Another
Whatever. Yeah. So I see Dave in the Josh Johnson thing, and I'm like, this is cool. I was like, I dig this, because even though Mario's a bigger name, the passion of collecting somebody, whether they have a name or they don't have a name, they had a name, whatever, but the passion's there. I collect this person for this reason, and Dave sparked my interest. Go through Hobbypalooza, go to the after party, not really digging everything. All of a sudden, I see this Essential Credentials with Matt, and all of a sudden with Amish Dave Archer. So Hobbypalooza last year brought you Vinny. What can I say? It's indirect, direct. I don't know how you want to describe it, but if it wasn't for the chain of events, because I watched probably almost all of that. I watched Nolan, I watched JT, I watched everybody. But it was the circle of events that occurred that led me to the Essential Credentials that late that night. The superpower ice carvings and lethal weapons from Fleer Metal. And the rest is history. A year later, I'm sitting here with you guys. So
what the hell were we thinking? Jeez,
I know.
What a mistake! Yeah, what a mistake that was.
You should have told me it was the unshiny version, Dave, and left me clueless. And then I'd been like, okay, then. And then that was that. And then Dave, I started talking to Dave. I was already on Instagram. And then Dave said he was putting on this thing with you, and I was there the first night with Paul, and the rest is history.
So Ty, Dave, I'll let you circle back to your point too, because I know you had 2 points as it pertained to Hobbypalooza, and I want to hear the other one for sure. But I wanted to get clarification on Ty's question. What do you mean someone is paying for the giveaways? Because here's the thing. Same last year. So like Panini had a spot, Topps had a spot, Upper Deck had a spot, and Hobbypalooza. Some of them were involved in conversations with like the folks at Bench Clear and things along those lines. However, the card manufacturers donated product to quote unquote Bench Clear because they're the ones who host Hobbypalooza to give away. And that's why you had, Jeopardy. You had, things along those lines to, you had Up North collectors who gave away stuff too. But a lot of the giveaways were individuals' stuff. Outside of Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, that was done more from like the Bench Clear folks. It's free stuff. Nobody technically paid for any of it. They chose to donate that for Hobbypalooza and to support what Hobbypalooza is supposed to be. It's the online YouTube card collecting community. They want to support it. It's no different when Chris Justice at the Hobby Box does his rant every year.
Yep.
He gets stuff from Panini, Upper Deck, Tops, and they hook him up usually. I mean, like with a ton of stuff. And all he does is turn around and give it right back to the people who have supported him. So in essence, nobody's paying for any of it. If an individual content creator or channel gives away something, that's out of the kindness of their heart.
Yeah.
That's coming out of their own decisions. I mean, JT last year, he was donating, and I can't remember what the cause is, and Dave, maybe you remember or not, but after so many discussions, after each guest, he posed a question, and he was giving away $25 to his eBay store. Or you could turn around and donate it to the cause, because other individuals stepped in and were matching those donations, which was really cool. Because in the middle of the pandemic, people were looking for assistance and things along those lines. So it was really a cool concept. I happened to be lucky enough. I won, and I donated it immediately. There was not a second guess in my mind. So doesn't mean that somewhere down in the future that, you know, something may change from that aspect, but all of that stuff was donated, so to speak. So no, Bench Clear did not pay anybody. That was all done through their marketing, having conversations with the manufacturers, marketing people, I would think, and they supported it last year. And so they reached out to them again this year, and they obliged. So it's a cool idea. It's a cool concept. The fact that the manufacturers do support the idea and the concept. And, you know, who's to say that Hobbypalooza doesn't expand and grow and things along those lines to where maybe there's more stuff, higher value stuff. Who knows? It's one of those in which the potential is there, but it's all going to be based on future execution of where it heads.
Hello, Brad.
Hello, Brad. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail, but
Brad.
it's one of those in which I wanted to clarify and you know, provide some insight. Although I'm not that I'm a part of Bench Clear, I don't know exactly how the interactions took place, but that would be my guess because they did support it last year, and there was quite a bit of product too. Open boxes or sealed boxes. Now they weren't, you know, museum collection and, you know, flawless and exquisite and stuff like that, but I mean it was still 3 boxes that Bench Clear gave away to random people. There was no rhyme or reason. It was, they had some sort of program that they were using based on the individuals that were in the comments or like watching or watching the stream somehow, shape, form, or fashion. And it was random at any given point in time of said broadcast. So if you happened to be there, you were technically in the running to win a sealed box. So it was kind of cool. So anyways, second point. Go back to your second point. Sorry.
The second point, again, you can do whatever you want if you've got that time slot, I guess. That's, I guess when you connect with Mike, or I think Ty is the other guy for a Bench Clear, the main guy that seems to be on a lot of the videos. You can do whatever it seems within reason that you want. This is not, I'll notate it in this fashion that it's not throwing shade at anyone. It's not being a dick to anyone or their choice. It's their choice to do this stuff. The stuff that I sort of had the issue with, and again, I know Ed's a huge fan of Phil Filmington. But to have a live sale as your 1 hour or whatever it was, that rubs me the wrong way. You can do that on your channel as a standalone video during your own time, and you will get as probably many people as you had in the chat.
And it brought out the Dave trolls.
I guess so. I don't know. I wasn't there.
I wasn't either, but obviously there were enough people who happened to notice it, or that were there and happened to catch it. You know, Dave and all his burner accounts.
Yeah, I was there.
And I'd like to go on record, so I'm going to speak for Dave. Dave doesn't need burner accounts. He uses Amish Dave Archer all the time.
And I love the concept of Mike O. Again, I had told Bob to do this with his dad and bust packs. Get it on video because you just don't know. Mike was going through, I think, some of his Phillies collection with his dad. I love it. You've got a following. If not, do that with like maybe Ed. Do that with like Ed's brother. Again, I don't know Ed's parent situation. I don't think that's ever come up in all our texting and whatnot. If he's got a dad around that even likes the Phillies, an uncle, a grandpa, whatever, get him involved too. Just have like a Phillies love hour. That more so for me would be when you start building everyone in. I like the concept. I'm not going to ever say that I don't. But just for the hour or the PC showcase stuff, do that on your own time. Unless, like I said, Ed's involved. You get Clint, bring him involved because he's a huge Phillies fan. Ray from Philly, bring him in. He loves the Phillies. Get some of these guys that are all Phillies guys, are all like a certain era, and talk about it. Then then leave that link there. Somebody you may not know jumps in, hey man, I've been on YouTube a couple of years, just sort of like Vinny was, just sort of in the weeds. I love the Phillies. I'm a huge Robin Roberts fan. I love Puddinhead Jones or whatever goofball Ed collects. Love these.
That's Puddinhead.
So I'm like that. Then you're like, okay, now this dude sort of comes in, maybe not to like the core of the group, but you're like, okay, your initiation is tonight, basically, and then we get to know somebody. The community gets to know somebody else. That's going to be a community member that wants to be a community member. If it was more community centric, with the thoughts of we're not all going to like each other. We all know that. We know that. In any aspect of life, we're not going to like each other. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But if you can show that you can put these differences aside, even for just a weekend, and again, with the National coming up, you can be cordial there. You can just blow off people. You can do whatever you want. You don't need to have like the West Side Story or whatever, and the vintage guys come in with like the ultra modern on the other side, the Jets and the Sharks. Just, I wouldn't even care if it's to put on I won't say a show, but put on the good face for the community. You want all these bigger channels on? Stack that Friday. Stack that Friday, then you have the giveaway guys, the Panini, the company guys, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. That leads into like somebody like Jeremy's show, which is a bigger channel that's grown. Filmington can have its auction. Mike O can have like the late night thing then. Maybe start Saturday with the hobby hotline stuff or whatever they had. I don't know what it was, but you start with that so you get some names, some people that, okay, Beckett's on there. He's a name. I mean, the magazine's pretty much irrelevant 15 years ago, but whatever. Have him somewhere in there, which was sort of surprising, is why, and I didn't see it, so I could be completely wrong. Like get get Golden in there, get Brian Gray, get all these big wigs on one. I don't care if Mike goes on there and wants to take credit for it. Get those guys just so you can have those guys banter about and hear that, because again, they're all super relevant right now. So you can go back in the archives and be like, oh fuck, Ryan Gray and Golden were on a show. That's interesting. Let's see what they have to say. And maybe the Heritage Auction guy, or the same people on the same shows. I like the lottery ball, the what is it, the tumbler thing where you sit there and do and then pick out the number, like for bingo or whatever. I like that, where it forces you to adapt on the fly. I know a lot of people aren't good at that, but at the same time, in this community, I think we get so complacent with the people we're around. And that's one of the problems when you see, oh, this is my feed. This is my feed of my guys. I know what they're about. I know my Instagram. That the people I'm like following. My like friends on Facebook who I like the stuff where I comment on all the time. They sort of like rise to the top with like whatever post, like Foxborough, his stuff will be on top. Adam J, he'll be up there. So you see that and you know, but for YouTube, when it's more personal, I'd say, because we're taking time, we're making videos, we're doing this, we're chatting about life, whatnot. I think that'd be, even if you wanted to say, okay, I'm baseball collector Mike. Yo and hello, everyone. This is what Hobbypalooza 2022 is going to be. We're going to come out with like a month or month and a half before. If it's going to be this time, have it like your Memorial Day announcement. Say, hey, if you want to be in, we're going to let this go for like 2 weeks. I'll give you an update, sort of like the Hall of Fame nonsense. We are going to have categories. We're going to have rippers. We're going to have grading. We're going to have like collectors, true collector, PC, super collector type people. We're going to have like flippers and whatever else. Vintage guys. Email me. We'll put you down if you want to be on. What category would you be under? What would most fit your collection? Again, some people can be like, well, I'm all of them. That's fine, but I'm PC. Manny, he collects, but he's a grader. You're PC. Vinny, PC. The guy that still lives with his parents, he's a flipper. You have some of these, so you can put some of them on. Maybe you put like, you got one vintage, you pick one from each category. And even if Mike gets on there to quote unquote moderate, it doesn't matter. I have no problem with that. But if you can mesh some of these different styles and okay, I'm constantly watching Dallas card show vlogs. What if one of those dudes comes to talk with one of us that comes to talk to a vintage guy? Because they're watching just the same people. We're watching just the same people. The vintage guys are just watching the same people, are going to the Net 54 and talking over there. You get all these people that are from, it's literally like life. All walks of life. You pluck them out, put them in a room. There's your focus group for an hour.
Well, and at a bare minimum, you pose the question: why vintage? Why super collect? Why set collect? Why team collect? Why this? And if you can't get an hour discussion out of the why, out of a panel of people, then that makes you question where the individual falls in said, quote unquote category. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're a player collector, there's more than just a handful of reasons.
Yeah.
If you're a team collector, usually there's more than a handful of reasons. And if you get 4 or 5 people and you have a good moderator, you could almost carry half of that time slot and just asking the why. And then have individuals bounce back and, interesting, well, what about this? Or, you kind of piggyback off of some of those responses and things. And you could probably get an hour in regards to an open panel discussion about, like you said, multiple individuals that fit in multiple areas of the hobby. It can be done, without a doubt. Easily able to be done.
And again, at that 1 hour mark of closing in, be like, hey, so-and-so's up next. Maybe you don't have it stacked with just these sort of forums. Maybe you have one, and you have a couple other different ones, and then you have another. But then those people that are on there, if you want to keep going, if you're embroiled in discussion, keep it live. We're still promoting, hey, next on the schedule is Ed. He's going to be in a banana hammock. Get over there and see it right now. He's going to be in a banana hammock with his Pelican case doing the Macarena. So go over there, watch that. We will still be live here, but go watch him, support him, pick us up back on the archive or whatever. We will continue this discussion until we're done. And I think that would help too, because I think a lot of the stuff, you do feel, some of these people feel constrained by that hour. And we've done long videos. Some of us, when they said they weren't going to be on for 7 hours, and we're on for 7 hours, 23 minutes. We've done long videos.
What was that, Vinny?
Mosquito?
Yes.
You don't have to be on for 3.5, 4 hours. You can be like, hey, we're going to cut it off at 1.5 hours. But at some point in the future, all of us are going to pick it back up and we will advertise it as such somewhere. Will it maybe build a new connection there? New connections? Possibly. At least you'll have some understanding. Because a lot of these guys don't probably listen to every aspect of the collector. I won't say we do all the time, but we at least will listen to, we know people. They collect vintage. They collect toys. They collect comics. They collect only graded, whatever it is the case may be. They flip, whatever. We're going to at least listen to some of these segments. Some of these other guys, I don't know. I'm not holding their hand all day. I don't know what they're watching, what they're doing. But I can surmise that they're not as deep into the community aspect as we've been, trying to consume quote-unquote content. The people we know, even the people we hate, just to hear that different vantage point. To hear what the vibe is over in that room, what the vibe is in that room. Where those good deals are over there, and the good deals are over here.
Or how fluid it is.
Yeah. We need the fluidity and liquidity for our cards.
Or how meaty the bone is.
Yeah. So, as Carlos has said too many a time, that the concept is wonderful. The execution is questionable. So, again, I know I don't even know how many minutes of videos I've had on YouTube. I know I counted that up once. I got probably about a third of the way and I got bored. I got a lot of minutes of talking on here. I know probably not many people will listen. That's fine. But that's what I would do if you really want to have, if I'm the guy doing it and saying, I really want to have a community-centric thing. And you can talk about the national. You can have your national talk in there too. Because again, if it's coming up on national, people are getting Jones to go. That you shouldn't put that in the back burner and be like, we'll talk about it later. No. Have one of the night things, like the Saturday night, be like, hey, let's talk national. Where are you staying? Where are you staying? I mean, just even have plain stuff like that. Dave's midlife card crisis. When are you going? Where are you staying? What are you looking for? And just start rapid firing through people on there. So give them a couple minutes to talk, and then guess what? They're a minute and a half, and be like, this is sort of your national. Why do you want to go? Why aren't you going? So that way, people, you don't have to have a 40-minute video saying why you want to go. You don't have to have a 10-minute video saying why you don't want to go. That will give people, okay, that's what I want. I need the what's the Cliff Notes? I need the Cliff Notes version. I don't need the Masterpiece Theater version. I just want, tell me, not, I bequeath upon you a story. No, nobody cares. Go away, Shakespeare. So, and that's what I would do. Again, not that anybody that does anything with that will even listen to me or even take these into consideration, or would they or should they, but that's what I would do. You still get everybody your time. You sort of front load that Friday with all the quote unquote big names that we know, and then you really dive into collector centric stuff on the weekend. So that's more or less where I was going. Again, with some of the questionable choices, I do some more of that auction stuff on a personal page on a Thursday or whatever it would be. I won't use this platform to elevate yourself up. I don't know. That's just me.
Well, and you have valid points, Dave. I mean, the sky is the limit to a certain degree. I mean, it really is. But, from my perspective, you look at what went well the first year, you look at what went well the second year, what didn't go well both years, and you consistently try and revamp. The whole objective is to not throw everything that you can think of at the wall and hope that it sticks. You got to have to ultimately play with the format and play with, what you think is beneficial, what isn't, because at the end of the day, it's those who put it on. If they're accepting feedback, I think it's great to allow individuals to provide, feedback of what they think went well, what didn't go well, and be able to leverage it of ways to improve it, make it better. Because if this is something that they're wanting to do consistently leading up to the national, because as we know, the reason they had it last year is because there was no national. So, I mean, it provided a platform, although virtually, it still provided that platform of why a lot of people do go to national, and it's to hang out with people, to meet people face to face, have conversations, go have a beer, so it means, well, the concept is great. Is it lacking in certain aspects? Yes. Am I to say what I think would make it better? No. Can I provide my feedback? Absolutely. Whether or not it's taken, like you said, whether or not somebody listens and takes that, feedback and tries to use it, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. However, I think it would be wise for them to take an opportunity and listen to people's feedback, from a multitude of individuals. It doesn't matter if it's from a collector, a flipper, a dealer, a ripper. That's irrelevant. But, like you said, it's supposed to be based on, the community concept of like a hangout almost, a virtual hangout. Then that's what it needs to be geared towards. And I'll go back to what I said earlier. Last year, you knew what you were going into with each segment. This year, that was non-existent. And I think that was a detriment because there is the possibility that I could have wanted to watch some things based on what the topic of conversation was going to be. But since that was non-existent, it wasn't there, I had no interest to watch any of it. I have one thing on my watch list. I see one thing on my watch later list, and that's Bob and Stove. Outside of that, there is no interest. But that's me. I'm only speaking for myself. Vinny, I know you had mentioned you watched, quite a few things this year. And, to each their own. But I have a feeling that Yeah, make sure she knows Mom says congratulations. I have a feeling, though, if Vinny knew some of the topics in some of the other ones, he may have watched more.
Mhm.
Just throwing that out there. So he's shaking his head, so he does agree with what I say. So I didn't want to speak for you, but I was making the assumption that, if you knew what the topic was, you probably would have spent more time watching more things. But since you didn't know, you're going in blind. It's one of those in which you're anxious to a certain degree because you enjoy the individual, but then when the topic starts being just, you're like, okay, yeah, I got better things to do with my time, and you shut it off and you go live your life.
Well, then update the site because I think they still had stuff from last year.
Oh, did they?
Mm-hmm.
I see.
What's up, C?
Hi, I'm gonna be right back. I'll come
Okay.
back. I'll come back. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think somebody had said, "Oh, JT isn't on right now," and I think it was a 5 o'clock time slot. And I think they're. And again, when I looked, it must have been a week or so before. They still had the same people from last year on there, the same lineup, and I'm like, ugh. I want to know who's on there because, again, maybe even if they're not talking about something I like or care about, it's like, okay, I know this person. I'll listen to them, see what's going on. But no, it was the last time I checked. So again, I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll gladly admit that. The last time I checked, nothing was updated. So and that's where I do a little more of the updating of said either website and then for like Bench Clear and Mike, neither which shockingly I'm subscribed to. No, you have not. That'll be after my diatribe here. That I won't say pump out those videos, but keep once a week, and then as you get towards that week of, you're like, okay, Monday, and then they actually go through the schedule. They do a little more, or Bench Clear does a better job with the production, so you can probably do some side-by-side or overlays or whatever you want to call them in the computer world, showing you, hey, here's our schedule for Friday, here's Saturday, here's Sunday. So that's what I would, again, suggestions, how I would try to improve it. Doesn't mean they'll even listen. No. Again, I'm just a blowhard, so but if you want to go for that community-centric feel, the true what you say and what you do, if they don't match up, the opinions of others will stay the same because nothing has changed.
Agreed. That's why we always say, some people use what we stand behind at the end of every show. They say it, but they don't demonstrate it.
No.
We say it at the end of every show, and we do our damnedest to make sure that we demonstrate it at every chance situation that we come across. I said it earlier, Mike was here. We missed him the last couple shows. I reached out because I wanted to make sure that everything was okay. You go shows back, Paul wasn't here. We all were sitting there going, okay, what's going on? Where's Paul? Hope everything's okay. Vinny reached out to him. He provided us the update. Like tonight, LA Pats isn't here. If for any reason he's not here next week, one of us will probably be reaching out to LA Pats and be like, hey, everything cool? Not that we expect you to be here all the time. That's not the expectation. But when you're consistently here over and over and over again, we do pay attention and we are genuinely concerned if for any reason that you're not here. If it's because you no longer want to support us, that's fine. You can flat out tell me that. It's not going to hurt my feelings, but at least we're genuinely concerned about, hey, hope everything's okay. We hadn't seen you the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
For those of us that, have access to do things on, Instagram, if we happen to follow somebody. I know Mason hasn't been here. Mason was here, quite a bit, and he hasn't been here in a while, but I have no way to get a hold of Mason, so I can't reach out to him.
Yeah.
But it's one of those in which those who are consistently here most of the time can help us be genuinely concerned, because when we end every show with what we say, I know Dave's the only one that says it, but it's truly what we think and how we feel. We would be doing an injustice if we didn't bother to reach out to people to check on them in the event that we noticed, they're not here. So on that note, are we done with the topic?
I think we went long enough.
Paul, you support us by being here. That's the support I'm alluding to. So, topic finished. We will close this off. Close off the topic. Now to a special presentation. We do know Better Half is here, so that's good. Vinny has something to open that was shipped to him from the YouTube Hall of Fame, i.e. Amish Dave Archer, that Dave wanted him to open and have it recorded, so it was easier to actually do it this way. So without further ado, Vinny, you're center stage.
Hey, C, come here. I pre-cut.
Cheater.
I didn't look. I pre-cut though.
How do we know?
Why did you put sticky notes?
To hide the addresses. So this is good. Relationships are grown, not bought and advertised. Maya Angelou. So
I think she said that.
Oh, this live.
If not, it's a good sentiment.
How many people are on this live?
12. See up there?
Oh, no idea. Oh my god, that's a lot of words and I can't read it. It's crazy.
You don't have to read it. You don't have to read it out loud. I'm sure that's a personal note from Dave. So, kind of like your note to Dave and I when you sent us ours. So,
the Jagov comment was beautiful. I did. That's where my eyes drew to. So, this is from Dave.
and I know two of them. Is there more, Dave? I know of two cards that are in it.
That one's for you. Can you read that?
Read it.
If you have a down game, remember to forget it. Ask your dad what I mean by that. In other words, like Dave said and like Steve said, short memories, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Can't see the card though. Can't see the card though.
You have to open it, see.
Open the thing. And see, Dave drew.
Oh,
Like,
the little witch.
That's not him. That's him, you ding dong.
Why does it look? What the hat? It looks like a witch.
That's his beard.
What's the hat for?
That's because
Amish.
Here.
The guys with the horse and buggies.
Remember where you picked up Galaxy? That gentleman there?
Yeah?
Yeah. Remember he had the hat on?
No.
We try, guys. We try.
That's all you can do.
What is this?
Just Megan Rapinoe, the soccer. That's a part of the jersey. The USA soccer team. Ain't that pretty? That's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. Megan Rapinoe. Show it to the camera, Benny, so we can see it.
Since you
That's
love
cool.
your soccer. What do you say?
Thank you.
You are welcome.
You have to remember that more.
No, Dad.
Wow.
She's anxious. She's nervous. She's shy. It happens. We
Can't pop
understand.
it.
Tell her those are not meant to pop.
I'm having trouble difficulties. I can't pop it. I can't pop it. It's unpoppable. It's unpoppable.
Well, they're not meant to be popped.
Then what? Then what are they for? What's the sixth time it's popping? It's tropical difficulties.
Thank you. I thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
They have tropical difficulties while trying to pop.
Yeah, so Vinny, you need to tell people what that is for those who don't know. And the story behind that specific card,
So-
there is significance.
This is the Leaf Fire on Ice Mary Lemieux. So when I moved from Pennsylvania to Michigan, I had this card somewhere. I don't know where it went. Looked. So I went after this card hard several times and lost. And probably when I was going back and watching Dave's videos, there's a lot of them, so I try to watch a lot of them. And I saw that he got this card. I'm like, cool, Dave has one. And to give me this is just, I thank you.
Hey, what about there's a card.
So this is one of the cards.
Got it.
Yes, that's your mother.
I know that's my mom. The only reason why I know that's her is because she's in Vegas. Or no, not
Virginia.
Virginia.
But thank you.
Can I start?
It's hard to stop looking at it because it's been a long time since I've had this card in my hand.
Vinny, we have talked about that card for a long time. I've known for months that it was going to end up in your hands. And all Dave and I kept talking about is if one of them pops up, let's hope that he doesn't win it, because it then, defeats the whole surprise. But we've talked about it for months and months and months.
Yes,
And
Bob.
then we got Bob. He doesn't even know what it is.
Yeah,
I like the shot on the back. I forgot what it looked like. It's like him going the ice, ripping a shot at net.
So you can scratch a top 25 off your list there, my friend.
Yeah, that's one off the top 25, definitely. So let's see what's next.
Is this the other one, Dave, that you showed me?
Awesome.
Or is there more?
I have 3 total, I think.
Some background music.
So then I do know of 2 then. Okay.
Wow. No, I do not. A sensational swatch out of Leaf, I believe. Yep. That is cool. That's got to be a part of lettering or something.
No.
I don't know where, because it's an interesting swatch.
Jumbo patch.
Yep, jumbo patch swatch.
Numbered what?
4.
I'll go back to lurking in the background now. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
lurking.
reading. Oh,
That's Bob. You know Bob.
yeah. I'm just reading the comments. Don't mind me. I saw one comment. It says, I saw one comment that I said that I saw one comment. I said, I am with her. You can't pop it.
Is that
What's
a premiere
the point? Exactly. I'm with you.
Is that the premiere date, Dave?
I think so.
Cool. don't know if I have this one or not. But it's numbered to 99. I love that one. Because he knew I was going after the red version of this. And thank you.
Satisfying.
Satisfying, yes.
But
No, now that's not satisfying. That's in my ears. But that's awesome. What they do is a lot of the times they try to mark these off as the gold without this, and there's multiple colors, and they try to show you the shine and say, hey, that's the gold version. Well, for $3 once I took the chance and I was wrong. So,
is that titanium?
Yeah.
Pacific titanium?
Yeah, private stock titanium. Which is a good year because this is the jerseys
is that from? I have no idea.
These are the jerseys that they got right before his retirement when Sid came. And it has the real gold in the black. So, and it has the flying V on the shoulders. That Mario Lemieux collector, Dave, on Instagram, he has those side patches from here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That you and I remember you tagging me and saying, sweet Lord, look at it, Vinny. Those were cool. But these, like I said, when a card is got a story to it, and a long drawn out story that it is, and then when it comes to your hands and it comes from your friend, it means the world. Because I'll get a new top loader and I'll shine this thing up tomorrow with my little Lexi. I got my little rag thingy, and it will go in a permanent place of we know the story. So now when I'm 90, you can watch this video and see me get this card from Dave and Steve. Well, from Dave with Steve.
When you're 90, how old were
I was going to say that is all Dave, which I told you in my response. I was just the messenger
Where's the calculator?
between Dave and the better half.
You'll be like, I don't know.
60?
You'll be like
60?
73 or something.
73?
Yeah, you'll be old too.
I wasn't even close, I'm guessing.
No, you weren't. You should
Of
do
course,
that back
now-
in your head.
Now I'm gonna have to step up my game.
Well, my game has already began for this year.
What are you talking about? I'm still trying to return the favor from December.
Well, it's Christmas in July on Hallmark, so I started early this year. I started going through stuff at the bequest of the better half to organize more. So the windfall is I started putting some stuff together for.
Well, and of course, what did I tell Vinny? I'm like, you can exclude me from the list, please and thank you. I'm still working on returning the favor, and I'm failing miserably as of late.
I could care. As long as you're here and you answer your text and you don't drop off the face of the earth, I'm fine.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
That's very gorgeous.
That's
That's
generous.
generous.
Gorgeous.
Wow.
You might need your eyes checked, kid.
Yeah, I need my eyes checked.
Better half. We better get her a eye appointment after a dentist appointment tomorrow. By the way, go brush your teeth. Say
Listen
goodnight.
to your dad.
Say goodnight, C.
I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. I'm not leaving. We're leaving.
Better half. You want to
I
help?
can't hear. I can't hear. What'd you say?
Go brush your teeth.
I asked your mom to step in and help, and I was like, "Listen to Dad. Go brush your teeth."
She asked your mom to tell you. Go brush your teeth.
Okay, I'll be right back. Peace. I'm not being right back. I said nothing. You heard nothing.
That keeps me young. Keeps me on my toes and keeps me young.
As they normally do.
Thank you, Dave. It was funny. My dad has been going through stuff upstairs in our house back in Pennsylvania. She's there because she realized Steve said you were going to comment soon, so she knows. But my dad was going through stuff, and I could not locate it. I had a gray, one of those 10-page with 9, and they were leather.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I found one. I'm like, really? He's like, it's all Lemieux. He goes, it's just 1 card per. I said, I never put 2 cards per. Bends the cards. I might want to grade those sometime. Yeah. Anyhow, so he found that, and he goes, there's some real shiny stuff. One of them says fire. I'm like, really? I said, is it red or is it silvery? He goes, I don't know. It says fire. So I'm curious to see, because I know I had this card top loaded. So wherever it went, I don't know, but now I have it. And it's from the Archer collection. So it feels good. And to know it came from you, it's even more, it even feels better. It's cool.
This is what it's all about, folks. I mean, seriously. And this is not a facade. It's never been a facade. It is not just a statement. It is a being of life, that things and situations like this don't come up or don't come across very often, no matter how hard we try and things along those lines. But this is the stuff that this is what it's about. And it's not a monetary thing either. For anybody who thinks it's about monetary value and things along those lines, they're missing the point.
It almost got some tears.
It's about looking after each other and really paying attention and listening and picking up on cues and signals and things along those lines, and to focus on things of that nature and to be able to present them to a friend as a gift. It's awesome. It's an awesome feeling. It's great to receive them. It is, but to actually send them to people, the feeling is 10 times better.
It is.
So hats off to you, Dave. I did know of 2 of the 3, so I wasn't off. But that's why, I was looking forward to this. And Dave and I have been talking the last couple of weeks, because he's like, when's Vinny's birthday? And I'm like, I don't remember. So, of course, I had to reach out to the better half. And I know Dave was ultimately trying to get it there for your birthday. I mean, that's what the objective was. But because of work and everything else, it showed up a little bit later. But the thought was still there.
Today is a good day to celebrate my birthday. It's like I said, I'm sitting here staring at this because it just, the sentimental value is 10 times what the card is. This could be a base card. This could be whatever. But it's not that I don't appreciate these 2. It's Dave knew the story. He knew I tried to win this. He knew all the things about it, and he took it out of his collection and he put it in mine. What do you have to say? Hashtag community. That's community, folks.
IRP at its finest. IRP at its core values.
Yeah. It's it's the little things. Me and Dave were talking the other day. It was like Pop's collection. It was a Saturday night. I think you were on there too, Steve. I said he saw that AP at 11:47 at night. what's the first thing he did? He sent me a DM over Instagram, and I wasn't even checking eBay that night. I was rolling over. For some reason, I said, check IG. I don't know why. And sure enough, that message was there, and he's like, get this. And I got that. I didn't haggle, better offer. Yeah, early anniversary gift. There you go. And it's just like, look at the numbering. We can hide some of these numbers and get the date better half. We can make it work. We can make it work. We can make it work on the serial number. We won't say like this is your age or anything because we don't want to go there. Because when I come home, I don't want to die. Or when you come home, I don't want to die. So we'll go from there.
And just FYI, so anybody cares, Vinny and his wife and me and my wife are almost identical anniversary. Talk about small worlds.
It's interesting. It's the little stuff, guys. The little things, like Bush said, the little things that kill. But in this case, the little things that bring you joy.
Yep.
It's
both in August. Both in August.
No, mine's in July.
Oh, yours is it? Your anniversary is? I thought it was in August as ours.
No. Yeah, we said it's almost the same day a month later.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
See, I start mixing shit these days.
We're old. What do you want from us?
Well, my mind's on vacation mode.
I understand that.
They can't get here soon enough. You have no idea. This week has been nothing but hell. I've had nothing but escalations the last 2 days, and I have nothing but calls tomorrow because I've got one of my people on vacation this week. And of course I go on vacation. It's like, holy crap. Let's see how much stuff can be piled on at once that I have to deal with before I step away for a few days. 6 days to be exact, but who's counting?
It'll be 6 glorious days. Just like when Dave goes up to Lake Superior.
So, Dave, you did see my chat message then, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go visit my folks here soon and bring back some stuff from the 80s that are Frito-Lay, speaking of Bobby Burrow. Some mail-in stuff that my dad got over time. He was big on, hey, that cereal box has cards or has a poster or has this or that. And he would send away for it and put it in a box and we would never see it. Well, he found a bunch of it. So I'm curious to see what I bring back. Yep, 1988 Frito-Lay. And there's something with Lemieux and Gretzky, which I don't even remember what that is, to tell you the truth. Because he had remember the black gold cards from Topps? We probably sent away for 20 or 30 of those things. So he has all that sitting in a box waiting for me. So I'm curious what's going to be in there to bring back and ask Bobby what I have. So,
and no, I'm not going to Bermuda or the Bahamas, and no, I'm not singing the song. I'm going to the beach, but we're not going tropical. We're going 5 hours south, 5.5 hours south. Speaking of which, I haven't decided yet. So I'll pose it to the crew here. So I am taking my laptop with me in the event that I do have to do something for work. Also, I will have to pay some bills while we're down there. So I'm going to pose the question. And Dave and Vinny, of course, you can answer this too. I can eat because I plan on being there the first part of the show next Tuesday. Because the topic of conversation, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up so everybody knows, is the hockey expansion draft, right? Isn't that what you're throwing up there? So for any of you hockey folks who may want to be involved in that conversation, make sure you reach out to Dave so he can shoot out the link. And, so for the first part of the show, probably will not be much of the topic. We'll go through our normal early show banter, and then eventually the topic will come into play, because I do at least want to say hi to everybody. Either I can be on the laptop on the patio of the rental house or the house that we're staying at, or I can actually be on the beach doing it from my phone. Which one would you prefer? Just throwing that out there. Anybody have a preference? Anybody have a suggestion? What would you prefer to see?
Well, I might be doing it from the field, so it's.
I'm not. I don't care about you, Vinny. I'm talking. This is about me. This is about me. Don't give me that crap. Brad says beach. Dave, Vinny, anybody else?
Depends on if you get a view of the beach and the sunset from the balcony.
It'll be one of those in which I won't know until we get there, as far as how the house is laid out.
You could kill two birds with one stone on that one, but the beach is always prime.
Yep. No banana hammock. Nope. Not happening. I don't have the figure to pull that one off.
I have the melting candle figure.
So we got two people. Shit up, Vinny. Not shut up. Shit up.
I do it all the time. I open my
Not
mouth.
sure what that means, but hey, what goes on between you two? Then we'll leave it at that. Just kidding. So we'll see. I mean, it's one of those in which we get there Monday. We can't check in until 4:00, so I'll know exactly the lay of the land Monday night. So it may be one of those in which I could start there on the balcony or the patio, I should say, or end up at the beach, whatever. So
there you go, Bobby. Only the better half can come up with new wordage.
That's what we do here. We come up with new, interesting hashtags. The only thing is we need to figure out ways to start getting them to trend.
Yep.
That's the only thing we have to figure out how to do. Start getting some of the terms and stuff to start trending. All in due time.
I'd repeat it, or I'd break my dad's rule number 1 for podcasting. If I ever see you cuss, boy, on that station, I'll know.
So better half, you're tasked with coming up with the definition of shit up. So work on that. That's your homework. No, Paul, that is not going to be the next. Not happening.
You can hang a PSA card out of there.
I will still have a shirt on, for that matter. We'll play it by ear, guys. It's one of those in which I know, like I said, I'll know for sure what the lay of the land looks like on Monday. And if the scenery is good from the patio for sunset or whatnot, I won't be right on the beach, but hopefully maybe you can see it behind me type situation. Or if not, I'll start there and then walk my ass down to the beach. Because I think it's like a 5-minute walk down to the beach from where we're staying. Yes, that would be definitely a TMI card. Absolutely. Since Vinny decided to bust out with the PSA comment.
Might be a different kind of PSA, a public service announcement that don't do it.
Well, that's true too. That is true too. So anything else, Dave, Vinny, we want to kind of talk about? By the way, I chatted to Dave and I was like, hey, let's look at going 2.5 hours tonight, only because I have multiple back-to-back meetings tomorrow and they start bright and early for me. I know it's not early for Dave, but they start at 8 a.m. And I have one that actually is at 4:30 my time. That's for an hour, and it's because it's with folks from Australia. So I have like 6 meetings tomorrow.
Delightful.
Yeah.
Well, my boss just texted me, so
you're off the clock.
Here's the thing. It's a question about something for eBay regarding the hobby. So it's actually asking for an opinion about to buy something that him and his boys want to open. So I'm spreading the hobby.
Look at you go. Look at you go. And sharing it with his kids, that's even better.
He's a good dude.
There you go, Vinny. Standing true to form. There you go.
Hashtag spread the hobby.
So anything else you can think of? Anybody anything from the chat that we want to bring up, talk about real quick in closing before Dave wraps us up for the evening? And then, of course, next week I will be live from Surfside Beach.
Yes, Brad. I saw that. That money should be saved to help sign Kaprizov and Kevin Fiala. And that will allow them, I hope, to retain Dumba, which I didn't think they were going to go this route of buying them out. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that when I saw that pop up about noon today. I thought maybe they'd waive their no protection clause, because Steve is a hockey oracle. I know you know this, but I just want to refresh your memory. With the expansion draft, some of these guys have clauses where they're basically exempt from the teams protecting them, because in their contract they can't be drafted. So that would have been the case with Suter and Parise, which those two players, Suter's still serviceable. Parise was, by the end of the year, a healthy scratch. So I think it's a 10 million, 10.5 million will save for the cap. So, but there'll also be a penalty the next, I think, 2 or 3 years. It'll be a bigger penalty, and then it goes down to like 800,000 the next 3 or 4 years after that for each player. So I'm happy they did it. It's something you hate to see it, but in the same sentence, if they're not producing and they're getting paid that much, when you are not getting a productive member out of the team, and especially with the situation it is with the expansion draft coming up, and you would obviously rather protect players that are viable cogs to your immediate future and future down the road. You need to do it. I mean, you have to sometimes take it in the junk right now and be like, oh, this sucks, but there is no other option unless you sweeten the pot with like a first-round pick, and they did that last time. I think a first or a second one. They sent Alex Tuck out to Las Vegas, and that didn't work out so well, which I knew it wouldn't, but that they took somebody else off the Wild, and that at the time I think prohibited them from taking Dumba that time too. So My guy's pretty much right in the center. So hopefully I'll have a card for him next week to show up, and hopefully I protect him because I think that list comes out the 17th.
Saturday, I believe. Yep.
So I'm very, very interested in that day because that'll help me for next week. I've already got some of the rules I've copied off of one site about 2 weeks ago. Just because, again, the expansion draft has changed so much. You look at the Panthers in the mid-90s, they didn't have much. The Beezer was there. That's about the only one that was really of great significance name-wise. I mean, Scott Mellenby was a solid role player at the time, but it wasn't like you're getting top-flight superstars. Same with the Wild and Brad's Blue Jackets when they came in.
To the Sharks?
Sharks, too. I mean, you weren't getting decent draft picks. You're in the top 3-5, somewhere in there, but you were not getting, at the time, salary dumps. It's like, okay, here's this guy. He's still productive, but he's making $7 million a year. The Houston Texans, same thing. I mean, you didn't have all these players for football that were like, oh, man, this guy, a couple of years left. We want to sort of shed that contract. He's productive. At the same time, guess what? We just want to move on from the money. We got somebody coming up. We'll do it that way.
So are the Kraken actually going to be involved in this one since they finally passed all their hurdles? Or
Yep, the expansion draft will be Wednesday, so right after the podcast. So that was perfect timing and set up perfectly. So,
gotcha. And Bobby, FYI, I don't think we're avoiding your comment or your question. I haven't heard any of that by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm gonna pass on even commenting. I have my thoughts as to why potentially it would be good for them, but it would be speculation in my opinion. So I can't speak much to it. Maybe that's a good topic for Friday night. Carlos, I know you were in here earlier. I don't know if you're still here. But if that is, some of the chatter that's going on kind of out there in the hobbyverse, I'd be interested to hear people's take on it in more detail. Because, like I said, I can provide my opinion as to why it would make sense, but, that's about the extent of it.
Yeah, it's nothing I've heard yet. But again, my ear isn't to the railroad track for a lot of hobby news. If I see something or hear something, that's usually either through Carlos, which we don't need to give him more credit to pump up the ego. I mean, I think that's pumped up enough. Love you, Carlos. But unless it's something that's like super pertinent in my collecting lane, as it were, I wouldn't. I just don't pick up on it. Maybe that's the Amish internet. I don't know.
So there you go, Bobby. Carlos making statements that more rumors currently. Now, with that, Vinny, anything you want to close off with for the evening?
No, but I sent well, I'll talk now. I just sent that okay then whatever up to the wife, so I think she'd get a kick out of it. So thank you, Bobby. But I heard the same rumor last week about the SGC thing, but I haven't delved into the details behind it. But it's interesting. We'll see where it goes.
Well, considering they just bought Golden, it'll be interesting if that's the case. But
somebody
like
bought
I said,
CSG, so that could start being sold anywhere. So we'll see.
A lot of things can transpire for good and for bad reasons, So all we can do is, see what happens, and we'll rely on our hobby news expert in BIC to bring that to the attention of the collective masses.
And I'll take the moment to say, if you do see this at any point in time, a non-regular to this podcast or what Carlos does, check him out on Friday nights, about the 8 p.m. Central Time, somewhere in that neck of the woods. Maybe a little earlier. Well, like I've said, it's not like a more analytic approach, but it's more, I'd say, professionally done and like thought out with visual aids.
He definitely does his due diligence and brings up the more hot topics as they arise within the hobby. So I use him for a lot of information.
This is truth.
So, Vinny, anything in closing from you? Or you good?
The better half said, "Thank you, Bobby, for starting her hashtag trend."
Nothing from me, Dave, from my perspective.
Thanks, Dave, again. I appreciate it.
As Carlos would say, no worries.
Indubitably.
So with that, we thank everybody joining the chat, keeping it going along. It's always fun, especially when you guys and gals all join in. Makes this go much smoother, much quicker. We don't have to use our heads, which is always a positive. Thank Vinny for jumping on.
Thank you.
Remember, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Patreon, Discord, PayPal, EMT, well-concealed cash, money order. I didn't say it, I'll say it again. Heck, we'll even take food stamps if you got them. Whatever you want. Crypto wallet, you have to check with that. OnlyFans, of course. How could I forget that?
Yeah, that group is growing. Telling you, it's interesting. You don't know what you're missing, fellas.
Yeah.
You may get your banana hammock there.
Or your banana.
Touche.
Possibly peeled too. You never know. So until next week, thank everybody for watching. You know the topic for next week, so I'll try to get that placeholder out maybe by the end of the night tonight, just because it's already known knowledge. And remember, Steve, that's Vinny. I'm Dave. This has been the Insert Revolution podcast. Collecting cards, such an amazing thing. The friendships you forge along the way, that's what it's really about. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.